It's the 20th time to see what an Ironman is.
Morning, good morning. What do you want me to be doing? Am I offensive? What's my motivation here? My motivation is to be terrified. We're all an experiment of one in this sport because you have the one body, you have the genes that you're given, and the drive and the spirit you bring to it is yours, but you're still an experiment of one.
This experiment of one, the challenge of human endurance called the Ironman, was first tested 20 years ago in Hawaii on the island of Oahu. The sport of triathlon was dreamed up by a 42-year-old career Navy man who tested himself in endurance runs for fun. On February 18th, 1978, John Collins gathered with 14
Never knows what he's going to be remembered for, and I certainly didn't think it was going to be for this. 101, Collins. 101.
John Collins stands in line this morning 20 years older, one of more than 1,500 people ready to compete in the Ironman. 1,500 people committed to an idea that began as an argument.
And whoever finished, he would be considered to be in the best athletic shape, and that would solve the argument. Well, it hasn't. As a matter of fact, there are 1,500 people here this week to prove it again.
What are these 1,500 people proving? Everyone races together, but each of them alone in their quest. A 17-hour journey, perhaps, into the soul.
Well, actually, I have a problem talking about the philosophy without choking up, but I'll try here. And that is that first in running, and then even more so in triathlon, you get to see in a non-lethal environment what you're made of and what your friends are made of.
Now John has 1,500 friends each year who want to show what they are made of. It's been 20 years since John has completed an Ironman, and at age 62, he is determined to finish. This time, John and his wife Judy and son Michael will face Kona together. But no one knows better than John Collins that no matter how many people surround you, you race the Ironman alone.
Things happen to you out there. You get put in a position where you have to make a choice of either going on or not going on. And you get to a point where you can make the decision either way. You can stop and you can convince everyone except the very back part of your head that you had a good reason to stop. And if you go on, then you win. If you stop, you lose.
John Collins, dreamer. Race day.
Good morning, people! This is your day.
The big island of Hawaii. Under the landmark banyan tree on the pier in the small village of Kailua, 1,500 assemble pre-dawn for what is a raid on their senses. There is calm and there is tension as everyone gets a number and makes sure their bikes are race ready. Tires, buckles, helmets, brains. All are checked and rechecked. Some will finish almost last, near midnight under a full moon. Others, like Tomas Hellriegel, want to win, like he did last year.
Hawaii is the reason why I started with the sport. I don't care about the other races. It's my race.
After 2 second-place finishes, last year was a breakthrough. Then there's Luc van Leerde of Belgium. Very bold. He won this the first time he tried it in 1996.
It's not good if you have the mentality to fear somebody. And, you know, we have some competitors here, maybe up to 10 people. And you have to study those athletes very well, but you're not allowed to fear anybody.
Everyone here knows Germany's Jürgen Zach. It's his 10th Ironman, and the marathon always kills him.
I'll try to think positive. I'll think of all the good runs I've had in the past. I outran Hellriegel 3 times in German Ironman. I'm not afraid of him.
You can say or tell yourself anything you want. But as you begin to make your way to the start, there comes that private moment of truth. Did I do everything possible to prepare for this? If you didn't, your fears are well grounded. If you did, there's still plenty to worry about. Not too many people thought Canadian Heather Fuhr could win this race last year, including Heather. But now she's back to defend her unlikely title.
I think I finally just got the confidence that I needed. Everybody believed in me before in all my past races, but I never did. And now I do believe in myself.
8-time champion Paula Newby-Fraser is back again. 3 years ago, she collapsed thinking she was dying a football field from the finish. Last year, no finish. Why this?
I think that you always have more to learn when you don't win, and I certainly have learned more lessons, not just about racing here, but I think I learned more lessons about myself.
Swim caps, please. Thank you. Swim caps, please.
Natasha Bodman of Switzerland smiled her way to a second-place finish 2 years ago. Last year, she quit in tears on the bike.
I had a smile inside me. It was not only the smile outside, but I had such a deep feeling of being good, of being satisfied, of happiness. Last year is a race I don't like very much because I started to race because I thought I can finish it. But then I had to realize that I couldn't, and so that hurt it very much.
Lori Bowden figures she's been to the Ironman cashier and paid the price. The Canadian was a runner-up finisher last year and has continued to work and improve. The next step is the toughest to take.
I used to look at a lot of people that were winning the races and think, wow, they're my idols, they're really great, and it'd be great to finish, you know, third and fourth next to them, but now you want to try to beat them.
Number 4, Peter Reed.
Lori Bowden's getting married to number 4. Can't figure what they have in common. Anyway, the last 2 years, Peter Reed's finished 4th, and that's getting old.
The second I crossed the finish line last year, all I could think about was, I wish the race was the next day. The Hawaii Ironman is everything. It's the one you dream about at night. It's the one that everybody in the sport wants to win.
So here they are, 2.4 miles in the Pacific, 112 on the bike through the lava fields, then a marathon. Who's it going to be at the Ironman's anniversary? Thing about this place and about this race. It proves that what you think about yourself is true. Scott Tinley is in the Ironman Hall of Fame. He's not going to win anymore, but he, Dave Scott, Mark Allen, Paula Newby-Fraser, Julie Moss, they still know what it takes to do it. Mark Allen has won the Ironman 6 times.
No matter how much you prepare, you can never control the race. The race is just there, and you have to respond to the dynamic of it and find those places in yourself that are dormant, that sort of come alive when you're under that type of pressure. And somehow, for me, that's just a total freedom, because it's like, it's out of my hands. I just have to go and do it. And there's very few other things in my life that I do that are a freedom like that.
Paula Newby-Fraser, 8 Ironman wins.
The actual physicalness of accomplishing this is very doable if you just put in the training, but it's the mental, totally mental. If you can come into the race and find the flow and just, as Mark has said, give yourself up to it and just go take everything that's dealt to you at that moment and handle it, I think that's where the success and the failures come, because if you don't handle it, the greatest training in the world is absolutely no good at all.
Every time you do this race, it gets harder because you have to give so much to perform that you leave something of yourself.
Scott Tinley, 2-time champion.
Now you know what you have to do, and in your mind, if you're about performing and about placing overall, you have to be willing to sacrifice. And each time you do that, you go to the well and you pull a little bit out, and you go to the well again, you pull a little bit out. And after X number of years, you go to the well and it's dry.
Julie Moss never won, but she once crawled to finish.
When I get reactions
still to that 82 race that I was in. What people were, what they were seeing was dramatic physically, but it wasn't inspiring, and I don't think that's what what struck a chord in them and made them want to come out and try this event. They were connecting to the whole psychological thing that was going on with me, and what they're seeing and what I was discovering for the first time was that I was pretty tough mentally, and I had something inside me that I had no idea existed, and I don't know if I could ever tap into it again in that same way.
Our identities forever are going to be locked into this race. I mean, you're always noted as an Ironman.
Dave Scott won 6 Ironmans.
The novelty of this race wears off in about an hour out on that lava field. I mean, there's so much momentum and so much hype, and what Paula was alluding to, everyone's done the preparation physically, and they get up to the race and their adrenaline is coming out of their ears, but once they get out on the lava field, you're all by yourself. I think a lot of people really get hung up, you know, I've got to finish this race and I've got to do it X time. I never paid attention to the time at all. I just let that moment, right at that time, sort of devour me and consume me and not look ahead.
The Ironman is a different entity than it was when it started, but you know, no matter what level of awareness that it has or development or popularity or whatever commercial value it has, beyond that, it still is on this island and it still is the same distance, and you have to start at 7 o'clock and you have to finish before midnight, and those things will always be the same. Those will never change.
Some things grow by instinct. Winning here comes from experience. John Collins, the other Hall of Famer, is an emotional favorite in his age group, and there are plenty of emotions to go around, plenty of people to favor as well, as you think of who to root for. And you think, there's a lot to think about. How about Baltimore's Lynn Brooks? She has more consecutive Ironman finishes than anyone. As Cal Ripken Jr.'s streak has ended, she tries to keep hers going. 50 years of age, going for 19 straight. Judy Molnar used to weigh 340 pounds.
Really don't want to use this. It's preventive. It's like preventive medicine.
Now 140 pounds lighter. A dream is on the line. It's almost time.
Go for it, baby. Where are we going? All right. Good luck, Peter. Boy. Yeah.
Confidently making her way to the start is Missy Lestrange of Visalia, California. She has won her age group 7 straight times. You can smile like her when that's your resume. Gets some help now, but after this, he's on his own and in a wheelchair. The professionals get some space up front. Everyone else is back in coach. athletes are getting the first signals from their bodies about how they feel and about how the day may go. Hopefully, they haven't gotten a kick in the face. And now, here is Phil Liggett.
With every swimmer trying to find a piece of real estate, the long day has begun. For the talented few, it will last only 8 hours plus, but for many, it will reach into the dark hours. Lars Jørgensen has little to prove here. He already holds the swim record set in 1995, but the best always needs to prove it to themselves. Jørgensen has found clear water after a perfect start. Leading the chase, the red cap of Belgian thunderbolt Luc van Lierde is ominous. A pointer to the rest of the day, perhaps. There are anxious times, too, for the ambitious Peter Reid, who must keep van Lierde in his sights, even this early on. Thomas Hellriegel has the privilege of wearing the #1 cap. The German, who knows what defeat tastes like, finally landed the big win last year, but without van Lierde competing. The Belgian was unknown in 1996. He left as world champion. His first visit started badly when he was given a 3-minute stop-go penalty on the bike leg. But Luc van Hu was in no mood to let that spoil his Hawaiian debut. And by the run, he was heading home in record time. Mark Allen had passed into the history books as the former record holder of this event. If that wasn't enough, the coveted 8 hours barrier was this time broken in spectacular style in Germany, when Luc van Lierde, in only his second Ironman, raced into the sport's unknown. To do it, he had to wipe out the evergreen and tenacious Jürgen Zach on his home soil. Then he went on to give a world champion performance in the year of his reign. 7 hours 50:27. And so back to 1998, and LVL once again looks good as he cuts a trail through the unusually favourable waters of the Pacific Ocean. But the leader is still the man in the gold cap, Lars Jørgensen, who plays in his domain as he swims away from the maddening crowd. His radar on this occasion giving a strange printout. Among the women, number 53, Wendy Ingram, has made a familiar start. The swim record holder is again up front. She shares the water with Ute Mukul. 8 times champion Paula Newby-Fraser on the far side is further back, but she expects to recover any losses on the bike leg. While Natasha Badman, on the other hand, is showing how her swim has improved. Just 2 minutes off the lead, the former duathlete has worked on her swim to good effect. And defending champion Heather Fuhr is making her usual start. She's giving others a 3-minute start even before the turn, but there's plenty of time to reel them in yet.
So it's 1 mile down and 139 to go. Lars Jørgensen seems to always lead in the swim, sort of a wet rabbit who has no hop left when he gets back on land. Is this the time things go differently, or does Lars have another rabbit to pull from his swim cap in the 20th anniversary Ironman? "20 years ago, John Collins invented the Ironman. Like all of us, he knows he's not as young as he used to be. The bikes are waiting for them all. No surprise, the collegiate swimming star Lars Jørgensen is the first one to emerge from the Pacific Ocean. For the chase group, piloted by the very capable Luc van Lierde, it's not a matter of if, but when to catch him.
Lars Jørgensen, the American trailblazer, is still the best in the pool, running out in a new record time of 46:41, breaking his 3-year-old record by just 3 seconds. Behind, Luc van Lierde, possibly the next leader, heads ashore with his red cap easily recognizable, while Jørgensen, now the rabbit, sprints away into the warming sun for the long 112 miles bike ride. Luc van Lierde, cap in hand, is out of the water, only 2 minutes behind Jørgensen and ahead of all of his expected challengers. He had made the perfect start as he raced with all urgency towards the bike transition. Fun-loving Wendy Ingram seemed to have had little problem emulating Jurgensen, and in perfect water conditions she too improved her year-old record to 49.11. Enjoying his private wrestling match with a dry lycra racing suit and a wet body, Luc van Leerde races to his bike with the confidence of a former winner. He knows what his gains can be worth even this early in the day.
Wait. Hey, my glasses. You dropped my glasses.
Yes, Hawaii is no place to be without them. Gone for the moment, the smile on Wendy's face as she too runs for her bike, taking on fuel as she goes. 3 times fourth in Hawaii, Wendy is out to better that today.
You guys are throwing me off here.
Good luck, Wendy. Good swim.
Hey, thank you. Thank you. Have a good day, you guys.
And you too, Wendy. Jürgen Zach, second last year and wearing the white top here, is next to exit among the favourites. He's taken 52 minutes, while Peter Reid in the red cap is right behind him. These two, as anyone will tell you, will dictate the bike ride now. That's why Thomas Hellriegel here will be pleased they haven't gained so much on him. Paula Newby-Fraser is out in just over 53 minutes. An excellent swim for the woman who is something of an unknown quantity, especially after a quieter than usual year of competition. Zach, who relies on a great bike ride, is in the transition, and unlike last year, has no problems with the chin strap of his helmet. Peter Reid knows Zach's qualities, hence the urgency. The Canadian has finished fourth the last 2 years and is a big favourite now.
Got it? 2-1, number 2-1.
The diminutive frame of Thomas Hellriegel hoves into view. After a great swim, he isn't going to lose time here either. He is well aware of the quality of those who are away just in front of him, although he doesn't seem to have quite the concerns of the others as he makes ready.
Natasha Botman is out into the transition, which is dripping with anxiety. Paula Newby-Fraser is in an environment where everyone knows her name, and she's in good shape. Fraser has cut back her miles in training for this event, and now we'll see if that pays off. Heather Fuhr in the green cap exits the harbor knowing she's not in front. The catch-up game adds pace to her steps. Natasha Botman gets set to hit the road. She's a great rider, even if this is where she met doom last year. Can't think about that. Heather Fuhr to her bike, over 10 minutes behind. Even further back is Laurie Bowden. It is a doable comeback, but this is far from good. Triathletes are people too. When things go well, they remain calm. When they don't, impatience comes on quickly. Of all things, Heather Fuhr's helmet buckle is messed up and she can't ride without it. She'll let someone else try to be the repairman while she has other stuff to do. But it gets to a point where she can't stand to think about having to explain how she didn't defend her title because of a 25-cent part. The tension mounts as Laurie Bowden calmly comes near. Climbs aboard and leaves Heather behind. Finally, the click of relief. Heather Fuhr has a lot of nervous energy to burn. Over 10 minutes ahead, Wendy Ingram rides in front, hitting the heat and a headwind on the Queen Ka'aumanu Highway. The locals, for good reason, call it the Queen K. It is this place, the lava fields, where you truly discover that whatever you do in the Ironman, you do alone. What if you swam 2.4 miles and when you got to your bike ready to go, it had a flat tire? That's reality for Missy Lestrange. She's lost 3 minutes during the not-so-quick change.
It's not pinched, is it?
My hands are a little slippery. Like your hands off of my shorts.
Missy is in the 45 to 49 age group and going for her 8th straight group title. Experience allows her to keep her head in spite of the setback, because it wouldn't feel so good at the finish if this Ironman thing were easy. It's a 112-mile ride.
He had left the water almost 2 minutes ahead, but Lars Jurgensen knew his capture was as inevitable as dark follows light. The Belgian Express Luc van Leerde, who trained with top Belgian cyclist Frank van den Broeke, was in dark mood and pedalling to a very fast tempo and into the lead. Jürgen Zak, once the course record holder until Hellriegel took it away from him in 1996, had to stay with the pace. This is his department now, and he's moving up fast. Peter Reed, winner of other Ironman races but never the world champion, knows he must engage Zak sooner or later, and also watch out for Thomas Hellriegel, who is just behind. The German is in the thick of it too, in what is certainly the best lineup in this race ever. Hellriegel is anxious to join up with the revered names of Van Leerde, Zak and Reed. Up front and caught speeding by the helicopter, Luc van Leerde has answered the question. Yes, the ex-champ is fully fit once again. Wendy Ingram is heading the women, but the wind has got up and is troublesome. This year so far has not been too rewarding for Wendy, but the gauntlet is down from one of the sport's great attackers. Sian Welch is one who could pick it up. Second on the road, Sian won her first Ironman this year in Australia, her second home, and the American wife of former world champion Greg is in determined mood. Whirling legs of Natasha Badman, who will tell you has come here to enjoy herself and anything else will be a bonus to the day. Well, here comes the first bonus. Badman is about to pass none other than Paula Newby-Fraser. She's picked up 2.5 minutes since the swim on Paula, and one wonders if we are about to see another epic battle like that of 1996. Behind them all is Laurie Bowden. She really was out of it in the swim, losing almost 8 minutes to Newby-Fraser and 5 to Badman. She has a lot to do to make it to the front. And what of defending champion Heather Fuhr? She's in a similar position to Laurie. The pair separated by only half a minute in the water. Fuhr is now a staggering 12 minutes off.
Lynn Brooks knows every bit of the Queen K. In fact, everything about the Ironman. She's completed 18 in a row and says when she hits 20, she'll stop and rest in peace for a while. To get that goal, 19 must come first. Lynn says the Ironman has changed her. Well, then what about Michael Collins, whose dad started this whole thing? Well, it's all part of the family now. Dad's not visible in that rearview mirror just yet. He and Mom are still in the bike transition, getting rid of those sea legs. And what do you know? Mom's in the number 2 Collins position.
I gotta put my heart monitor on. I forgot to pop my heart monitor, so it's in my shoe.
Okay.
Just yards away, the new slimmed-down version of Judy Molnar exits the Pacific in 1 hour 55 minutes. Judy's behind her own schedule, but every deep desire to get to this point is still alive. and that feels good.
Okay, guys, appreciate all the help. Now here comes the really hard part.
The Ironman's Thomas Edison passed along some kind words. All around him, the evidence that John Collins' invention turned a switch on for thousands who want to see the light one at a time. There is so much sheer beauty on the big island of Hawaii. And one of the beautiful things about the Ironman is every competitor is on the same playing field as the Hall of Famers.
The first hour, there's this big, excited fantasy, and then boom, you're hit with the reality. You're hit with that first reality, and then an hour later, you're hit with even more reality, and then another, and another, and another, and you just get reduced to the most basic element of yourself. And it happens to basically every single person out there. And as that happens, it feels like there's some kind of magic that's created through that.
20 years ago, 15 competitors did this for a first time to find out about themselves. That still drives them today because you find out a lot about yourself in the Ironman.
The day is not going well for 1997 champion Heather Fuhr. She is falling slowly but very surely away from the pace being set by others. Hopes of a repeat win are all but gone. Also way back, Laurie Bowden, unlike Fuhr, is gaining time on the leaders. She cuts a dashing figure as she sighs through the men in a desperate effort to reduce an enormous gap after only an average swim. Paula Newby-Fraser has suffered her way to 8 great victories in this event, a record perhaps no one will ever match. But today the lady in red is in defensive mode and her splits show her to be losing time. Sean Welsh, helped with advice from no less a monument than Mark Allen, is now third and all fired up. But she has been passed by Badman. Natasha Badman, who has experienced the highs and lows in just 2 years of participation, is taming the tough winds of the day. Her enjoyment, as she puts it, seems set to continue, as only one person is still in front of her. Her target is still Wendy Ingram, who despite injury 6 weeks ago is proving her usual defiant self as she makes Badman race hard to catch her. The long road ahead can be disarming when you are suffering. And then it happens. An apparition known as Natasha Badman cruises by Wendy and into the lead. This is a first for the Swiss athlete. She's never led in the bike section before, and last year she suffered into retirement during it. But now one gets the feeling that won't happen this time. One thing though is certain, the sub 5 hour rider will not do that either, not in this wind.
One by one they pass by, and for the most part they sport a similar physique. Just leaving Kailua Kona though is Judy Molnar. Judy doesn't fit the usual triathlete mold, and that is what makes her so interesting. Today for her the Ironman is a statement about recapturing a healthy life. It is remarkable, really, the different reasons we find these athletes on this day in Hawaii. For Judy Molnar, finishing this is a new beginning. For every competitor, the unrelenting 25-mile-per-hour headwind is a pain in the neck.
That headwind has whittled the race down to a select few, the professionals who found out a long time ago this was their way of life. Thomas Hellriegel, champion of 1997, hunts the leaders. Peter Reed finished 10 minutes behind Hellriegel last year and is now only just behind him at a crucial stage in this mind game. He's a changed man now that he is a winner rather than a place getter in Ironman events. In front of both of them is Jürgen Zach, suffering across the lava fields of this paradise in mid-ocean for a 10th time. Zach, and don't you think they don't know it, has got to get a good lead before the run. But he is yet to contact one Belgian named Luc van Lierde. Van Lierde, profiting from his fine swim, is still ahead, but concerned because he knows all this is about to change. Zach, urged on by his need to be in front, is the first to offer Van Lierde a reversal. The Belgian, for the first time this day, is forced into the back seat. It's at times like this you shouldn't panic. After all, few can hold Zach in this mood. The big German has fought his way to the front, but in this wind anything can happen. And Zach certainly knows that.
The 20th anniversary of the Ironman, presented by Timex, is moving as far from the rugged coastline as it can get, to the quaint turnaround town of Hawaii. Jürgen Zach is the first competitor they see.
The long struggle to Hawaii has hurt even more than usual, but there's nothing unusual in the sight of German Jürgen Zach getting to the turnaround first. Soon he will have the chance to see where all his rivals are placed along the way. The Hawaiian winds are ripping the field to shreds, and those who've made a move too soon can expect to lose this race later. Thomas Hellriegel was with Zach at the turn last year, and although still second this time, the gap is somewhat wider. But he is a good runner, usually better than Zach. For the first 15 years, this race was dominated by the Americans. The nearest we can get for now is Canadian Peter Reid, still doing his own thing and confident in third place. He's riding faster than them all, except Hellriegel and perhaps Zach. Life in contrast is not so sweet for Van Leerde. The ex-champ shows signs of fading as already he's lost over 5 minutes to Zach, approaching Harvey.
You can hear the urgency in his voice. Jürgen Zach has a flat tire, and since he doesn't have an extra on hand, he pushes along on the rim, hoping a support vehicle is nearby to save as much of his lead as possible.
We're calling him now.
Hellriegel and Reid make the U-turn in Hawaii. The air is cooler here, and they know what was a headwind is now a tailwind. Very refreshing. Last time they saw Jürgen Zach, he was fine. They have no idea his race has become a mess. To watch Jürgen Zach go over his bike pre-race is like watching Felix Unger clean his apartment. Very meticulous. Thus, absolute powerless frustration is magnified. So is a feeling of déjà vu. If it's not one thing, it's another. Last year, he was absolutely in a fit over a chin strap that wouldn't come together. You train for a year, and a little piece of plastic makes you react this way. Zach gets the signal from a race official that an Ironman support vehicle is approaching. He disembarks to get a head start on tire removal. The ticking clock must be pounding inside his head.
Right behind you, Jürgen, right behind you. Back up, back up, back up, back up. Here, show up. Back up.
It's not the same aerodynamic thing of beauty he had, but now is not the time to shop around. Imagine the pressure the tire changer is feeling. The scenario, which could not be much worse, gets worse as Thomas Hellriegel and Peter Reid sail by. Everything Zach had worked to build up is lost. Finally, Zach hears the word he's been dying for.
Go.
And go he does, with a little extra sympathetic boost. No sense dwelling on what happened. It's done. Zach might do well to remind himself he's the best endurance cyclist the Ironman has known. He has 50 miles to exercise his strong point, and that he does. Peter Reid knows what just happened is a major deal. If Zach has a small lead, or even isn't in front when the marathon begins, he's toast. Still, where is he?
While the drama among the men unfolds ahead, back in Harvey, Natasha Badman has no such problems as she reaches the turn. She's blasted the field and leads by over 5 minutes. The small but always enthusiastic group of supporters in the far-off town makes a point of marking out the best of the women. And so far, Badman's clearly the very best on a very tough day. Sian Welch is also in the heat of the race, lying second and occupying a position she's never held at this stage before. But she still has almost 6 minutes to recoup to win this contest. 8 has been a happy number for Paula Newby-Fraser, but not this time, when it represents her deficit. The Queen of Kona, clearly in trouble, appears, well, human for a change. While Wendy Ingram is now in a similar time warp, a minute further behind Paula. Last year, a leader off the bike, this time just a member of the pack. Before the start, Laurie Bowden was a name hotly tipped for success, yet still a long way from throwing kisses to the crowd at the finish. Even so, she was making progress as only Badman pedals faster. If the pace holds, she has a chance. Heather Feuer knows here that she will not win again this time around. The defending champion is in double figures behind the leader, but she can ride content in the knowledge that she has been the champion, even if today is not to be the day.
Judy Collins, no, not that one. Judy Collins, the wife of race founder John, is actually ahead of her husband. Their mission, their son is in this too, is to all finish. And right now they look okay. Meanwhile, John has been spending the day schmoozing and enjoying like he was running for office. You might say he's eating this up.
Boy, is this fun.
Lynn Brooks is in the same neighborhood, trying to finish for an unprecedented 19th straight time. In the past, Lynn did this because of how good it made her feel about herself. This time, though, she has a little extra incentive to get to the finish line in style. Canadian Peter Reid is leading this anniversary edition of the Ironman, and if prior years have taught him anything, it's keep an eye on Jürgen Zach's cycling machine. On a slight uphill, no less, the respect is well-founded, and Zach's reputation is reaffirmed as he soars past Reid to reclaim the lead. Now it's doubtful anyone can catch him as he builds up what essentially is his marathon margin of error. Try to be him and not be dwelling on what might be happening were it not for that darn flat tire. The defending champion Thomas Hellriegel was also victimized by Zach's charge to the front. He's near Peter Reid in third place, and as the Hall of Famers will tell you, hydrate every chance you get. It could be too late if you wait. Luc van Leerde is 8 minutes back with no panic to his pace. His strategy is the opposite of Zach. Stay close enough on wheels to attack on foot. It worked, and he won that way in '96. Zach returns to Kailua. The crowd is large and loud as he nears the transition to the marathon, his weakness. Earlier, he told us of his confidence in that element of the race. It'll soon be time to back it up. Natasha Bodman is out there up to her old trick, smiling, waving, looking fresh. This ride is going a lot better than last year's. The lead remains all her. In fact, the cushion she enjoys is 5 minutes over Sean Welch, and that's the way it's been for some time. It's a good sign for Welch. She's matching Bodman's pace, pedal for pedal. Now it's time to recognize a new player in the mix, Fernanda Keller of Brazil. She's 7 minutes behind Bodman, been there a while, and with back-to-back third-place finishes the prior two Ironmans, has to be respected.
Jürgen Zach back in the lead as the bike section comes to an end and can think only of what might have been without that flat rear tyre. The muscular German relies on his cycling talent to build the bridge which has in the past carried him to other Ironman victories. Here at the transition to the run, he has not got the time in hand he'd hoped for, even though his race has run according to plan. But just to get a small lead, he has been forced to use an awful lot of energy. With no time to evaluate right now, Zach makes the best of what he's got, which is, after all, the lead. Thomas Hellriegel is next to arrive, happy no doubt that he stayed so close to Zach. Hellriegel and Peter Reid have been in the proximity of one another for hours, and both can run. Both have had a good ride, Hellriegel's time almost identical to that of Reid's. It is Zach who is now the quarry as he heads out on the hilly run course in 90 degrees of heat. The German-Canadian tandem arrive as Zach leaves. They have just descended the hill which Zach is already climbing. They must feel confident knowing that Zach is not so far ahead. Speed is of the essence as time is literally running away from them. This is the final phase and they take strength from the fact that Luc van Leerde is still to arrive. He is 8 minutes back of Zach. Reed makes ready with the finishing touch of sunglasses as behind him Hellriegel is heading out. They're ready for the last battle, and they both have what it takes.
Every second counts to these guys here. Right now, is Thomas Hellriegel. Right behind him is Peter Reed. He's going to let it out. Let's take him out right now. The big cheer, folks. Canada last year at this race, 5 of the top 10 men. German, 13 of the top 26. German clearing us out.
Jürgen Zach heads into what is called the pit, where he'll see his lead. Time to play with some numbers. It's just past high noon. Zach's best marathon here is 2:59. Hellriegel 2:51. Reed 2:54. Van Lierde 2:41. It could be uh-oh time. Just emerging from the transition, Hellriegel is a stride or two in front of Reed. They know each other's game very well. 3 steps in front. Now 4. Hellriegel has a title to defend. Still 8 minutes off the lead, Luc Van Lierde gets ready to run. He's the best runner in the bunch, but still a little bit of a wild card. He won his very first Ironman and was hurt last year. This is only his second try. Not a lot of history to go by. Zach has made the turn, and by counting off seconds in his head can assess his lead by figuring the time from that turn to the first runner he passes. It's Hellriegel. Not a word is spoken. It's a German battle. May the best hydrator win. Canada's Reed is still there too, determined to be part of whatever develops. Meanwhile, Natasha Bodman merrily rolling through Kailua. Her attitude is infectious, as is the feeling to wait and see how this all plays out. There are many different ways to win in the Ironman. Missy Lestrange is 46, so her age group is women 45 to 49. And in spite of a flat tire, she's on her way home to claim her age group for an 8th straight time. Judy Molnar could win by just finishing, but she's struggling for sure.
This is crazy. Going straight into a headwind.
And right now, Lothar Lüner of Germany, 6-time finisher here. He was 3rd here last year.
A shock runner-up 2 years ago, Natasha Badman has control now. She arrives at the Kona Surf transition with a big lead of 4 minutes 45 seconds over Sean Welsh. Interestingly, Badman had a bigger lead over Sean at Harvey than she has now. Is she holding back for the run, or is she showing the first signs of fatigue?
You got your number?
Natasha has made the most of the few seconds respite from the battlefront, but now it's back into action for the run. This course is cruel. The hills at the start, the climb out of Kona, the energy lab in the height of the heat of the day. This was not the time for dreaming of victory yet, but this woman has come here to smile her way around the course. Remember what she said at the start? The first thing I do will enjoy it. After that, what happens, happens. The battling Sean Welsh, who won so well in Australia in April, knows she is in touch with her finest ever World Championship performance. But she's being chased by Fernanda Keller, a rare jewel in the South American crown, who was still in the mood to upset the established names. She's 7 minutes off Badman. Welsh, who only a year ago finished 5th, but not before she was outcrawled by Wendy Ingram, does have her problems as she goes into the transition. In her anxiety to get out onto the run, there's a slight confusion about her number.
54. 54.
That cleared up, and with bag in hand, it's onward to the change.
Okay, to go. Good job.
Out in the midday sun, Natasha Badman is at one of the many watering holes around Kona at this time of year.
Jürgen Zach is being hunted, and his lead is shrinking. In every way, in this, his 10th Ironman, he's been down this road before. But who's it going to be? Thomas Hellriegel looks like he's in trouble. The strides are stiff and not purposeful. In what looks to be a permanent pass, Peter Reed overtakes him. Hellriegel checks him out, and what he sees is a runner whose pace is stronger. Reed is covering more ground with every one of his long steps, and there's little doubt that Hellriegel has to feel that this Ironman is slipping away. Reed leaves Hellriegel behind, setting his sights on the one thing that stands between him and a first-ever victory, Jürgen Zach. Reed juices up and tries to cool down. It may cost him a tiny bit of time to do it, but to not do it would cost even more. Zach is not the picture of strength in what is, for the moment, a two-man race. Reed maintains the same strong image as before, and with every one of those steps is eating away at Zach's lead, eventually getting it down to 20 yards and closing fast. He even inspires some fans to go for it with him, and go for it he does, taking the lead in the 20th anniversary Ironman. There is no Jürgen Zach marathon history to say he'll be able to come back this time. Now, as it was with Hellriegel, Reed's just got more at this point in a long, hot day. And Peter Reed just keeps it up and never looks back. Soon, Peter Reed will see if the experience of finishing fourth twice can pay off. He is the leader in the 1998 Ironman, and he's heading out for the final cruel test this race presents, the lava fields, where this is always really decided. It will be his moment of truth. Presented by Timex. Anniversaries are times when you pause and think of how far you've come, the great times along the way, and the special people that made those moments possible.
1989 for me was obviously an extremely important year. I had tried to win the race 6 times and was very unsuccessful. Dave was always in the way.
I knew you were always there. It was sort of like my shadow was following me around. And there was a couple times on the E Drive, particularly on the downhill sections, where I thought, well, I'll just kind of test Mark. And you seemed to respond okay. And then I finally said, well, just be patient. So I think at that point, we were just sort of running within ourselves. And
No, I was so out of myself at that point. You were going so fast. And I thought, hey, he's won this thing. It must be okay to run this fast. I thought I was going to blow up. It was so fast through town.
We were really fast. My unsightly rhythm and your smooth-flowing gazelle-like strides, we seem to be matching stride for stride. I said, sometimes you almost think this is kind of fun, because it was a game.
It was a classic sporting duel that I don't think may ever be repeated.
Peter Reed would love to be part of some Hall of Fame conversation one day, but he's got to get through this one first. His concern now, after being a man in motion for 7 hours and 16 minutes, are himself and most likely Luke van Leeuwen.
Jürgen Zach still hangs on to second place, but hopes of matching anyone right now are dimming. Water is at the forefront of his mind, and plenty of it, as temperatures soar and the body complains about its treatment. Hellriegel is in third place, but not looking like the man who ran a 2:51 marathon on the way to victory last year. The day is beginning to tell, as well it might. Behind the return of Luc van Lierde, back in his stride, now moving up to third. The Belgian seems to have a second wind and is in with a chance of catching the two ahead. In this sport, it's never one-on-one, but a private battle with oneself, which always brings out the admiration of others. Van Lierde knows how Hellriegel feels, and he could feel the same way soon. Peter Reid has earned his chance to win the world title. Of this, there can be no argument. Like the greats before him, Reid is now in a position to steal the show. But can he? Elsewhere in the Queen K Highway, Natasha Badman keeps hydrated. The woman who left this race by the back door last year is beginning to play the host this time around. She's running strongly and pulling away to a 6 minutes lead. Her new rival is Fernanda Keller, who has stacked up the third-place finishes in the past, including last year, and is now in second. If there is still a surprise to come among the women, then Laurie Bowden would love to deliver it. She's running herself back into the picture. Her 12 minutes loss has been reduced to 8, and Keller has picked up a tail. Sean Welsh has faded since the run started, hopes of a top finish going too. Slowly but surely she's falling back, and although fourth here, worse seems certain to come.
The marathon turnaround is at something called the Energy Lab, and Peter Reid looks like he has plenty of that left. Most assuredly, Jürgen Sack, in a decade of trying, has improved his running, but sometimes there are things that aren't your thing. Now into the picture storms Luc van Lierde, tracking Sack down as the only hunter left with a real shot. He is making the move he's been waiting to play. It's been a difficult day for the German. The flat tire that blew away his 3-minute lead, then to be usurped on the run as if not even there. And this Van Lierde guy, he's only done this race twice. The actual pass, including a slight salutation, makes it a two-man race again. Luc van Lierde with only Peter Reid to catch. Reid seems casual in his commitment to liquefy soon after the turnaround, and he'll be able to gauge his lead and whether casual still cuts it. Hours into the Ironman comes a telling moment. Reid has held firm. The furious charge by the best marathoner in the field has not dented at all what he has built. This reality hits Luc van Lierde. His greatest weapon wasn't enough this time. Still, a 1-1 record in the Ironman isn't bad. Peter Reid has passed his moment of truth. When he turns right onto a Leahy Drive, he'll hear the greatest noise he's ever heard. There were only a handful of people who began this day thinking they could win. One of them was Peter Reid.
The Hawaii Ironman is everything. What makes this race so hard is everybody is peaking for this day. The entire year, everybody thinks about the Hawaii Ironman. All I've been doing this whole year is thinking about racing here in Hawaii and really going for the win.
Now the reality begins to hit Peter Reid. He is going to do it. Really win the whole thing. He just loves the feeling of being the first one to return to the big banyan tree where this all started 140 miles ago. Peter Reed with a first for him and for Canada. 8 hours, 24 minutes, 20 seconds.
He's the happiest man on earth! I did it!
Luke Van Leerde will be beaten for the first time in the Ironman, and it is most startling that when this race came to crunch time, his swift steps actually lost time to Peter Reed. Jürgen Zach is doing a complete meltdown and been reduced to walking. He's been sick and congested. When you envision winning and you get this, it hurts. Phil Liggett's at the finish.
You're the world champion, you're the first Canadian. What a year to choose. You literally ran away with this.
You know, it was a really hard year. I battled a lot of problems. I was so nervous before this race because I really didn't know how it was going to go. And then I got out there and I started feeling good. I kept looking over. Thomas wasn't looking too good. And I'm like, Jürgen's only getting 1.5 minutes on me. I can run him down. And then it was a question of, okay, who can catch me? Luke Van Leerde? Oh, I'm gaining time on him. Then at the end, Lothar later was getting a little closer, but there was no way out. This was my day.
And so the 20th anniversary of the Ironman does not go down as one of the heart-stopping affairs, only as a day of consistent dominance by Peter Reed, as he wins his first ever by a margin of 7.5 minutes. That is a blowout. Back on the Queen K, Jürgen Zach is getting a medical opinion about continuing.
Good. 138. We can watch you. She can improve that. I'm going to check with our docs. Good man.
Okay. The race is lost, but competitors compete. So Jürgen Zach's brain competes with his body, knowing finishing is the challenge remaining, and it's the right thing to do. In the women's race, Natasha Bodman has been leading and smiling for all the miles of the marathon, but her lead has been chopped down from double digits to 3 minutes by someone who's never contended before. Fernanda Keller is what Natasha was 2 years ago, an X factor that, based on what's happening today, has to be dealt with. But Keller and Bodman have another word. Laurie Bowden is flying along. 8th 2 years ago, 2nd last year, Laurie may be thinking of the next logical step. News of her fiancé Peter Reed and his victory could be inspiring her as well. When you're being caught from behind, you know it without looking. There's a buzz, the choppers, the motorcycles, the presence. To Keller, it means Laurie Bowden is right there. Now Keller and Bowden are together, still thinking about Bodman and about when the time is right to make the move. This is the picture for miles. Nothing dramatic, just a subtle shift in gears. Maybe Keller lost a little or Bowden stepped on it. Either way, Bowden moves along in 2nd place and offers a pat of encouragement to Jürgen Zach, who looks bewildered as the women's race passes him by. Ahead, Natasha Bodman will not be caught, proudly carrying the Swiss flag into Kailua. No European woman has ever been in this position, winning the Ironman. Laurie Bowden is on the downhill, headed to the line. 2nd place is hers, and it is well earned. The battle with Fernanda Keller was a real test of spirit. And we thought the other smiles were something. Natasha Bodman hasn't a worry in the world. Certainly not about her finishing time, as she pauses for some high fives before actually getting to the line. 24 minutes, 16 seconds. Natasha Bodman, 1998 Ironman champion. Soon, Lori Bowden and Peter Reed will be married. And what a day for the couple. He's first, she's second. That is some powerful DNA. Phil Liggett is at the finish line.
You know that Lori had left 12 minutes behind you on the run, and she was closing in on you very fast?
Yes, I saw it on the turnaround, but I saw the time then that I had, and so I thought it would be enough for reaching the finish line, and so I had no more to hurry, and I could enjoy all the last mile, could enjoy and see the crowd and feel with them, and that was perfect.
So, both 1998 champions were first-timers. Natasha Bodman, Lori Bowden, Fernanda Keller. And in a show of heart, Heather Fuhr, the defending champion, runs a course record 3:04 marathon to come back and finish 5th. Jürgen Zach tries to press on, and Ironman medical personnel are monitoring closely. His body has been doing some scary stuff.
My legs are good, but I was coughing some blood, so I was concerned, and I just finished now walking the race. You were pumping blood? Yeah, I had something in my lungs.
It's a 1-6, and with Jürgen Zach, how's that medical coming?
Not anymore.
Greg, this is Pure Headquarters. I'm with the medical people. We need an exact location of Jürgen Zach.
Mile 20. Mile 20.
Sometimes it isn't the winners who impress you the most.
It doesn't matter too much how you finish. It's important that you finish.
Everyone is behind his effort. Even a Hall of Famer, Scott Tinley, now just about finishing himself.
Hey, Scott. You finished up, man. Finish.
I 124/84.
I was walking.
Later, Paula Newby Fraser tries to get Zach to run with her. Newby Fraser knows the 8-time champ has been reduced to this herself. Zach tries, but it's no good. It's the Ironman, and you have to do it by yourself.
But now I feel good walking. It's my 10th race. I don't want to drop out on my 10th place here. So, good luck. Thanks. At least I get a 10 today.
It doesn't matter if you place well or not so good. You're still happy to be on Ali Drive and finish a race.
There were other days when Zach was so strong. Today he was reduced to being the everyman, and maybe had his greatest Ironman ever. It is this spirit that drives them all, that at their own pace, somehow, some way, they will get to the line. Of course, some will, and some won't. We've seen the champions, and now the Ironman belongs to everyone else. Everywhere you look on this day on the big island of Hawaii, there are battles. To win, to finish, to beat your own demons, to set a personal best, or maybe just take your age group. As the sun goes down, that's the new face of the Ironman. Peter Reed's first ever championship. That was hours ago, and it completely changes what he is in this sport. An Ironman champion, and the first Canadian to be able to say that. Then there was the celebration of Natasha Bodman. Her spirit was infectious, and the finish line turned into a party for her. Now, the race is about the others, as proud as the rest, like Missy Lestrange. Missy Lestrange doesn't come to Kona to see if she can finish the race, although that's definitely a goal. She respects the island and the humbling powers of Pele, but for Missy, the race itself is not a spiritual thing, it's about heart. How hard can she push herself? How mentally tough can Missy Lestrange be on this day?
I think some people are maybe afraid of the Ironman. They see some very fine athletes crumbling to their knees right at the finish line. I don't perceive triathlon or training for triathlons as work. It's play for me. This is how I, as an adult, have fun.
It's Ironman Day, yippee!
The age groupers, they have jobs. We have careers. That's where we're frustrated and have to work and all those commitments that we have to do. Triathlon is for fun. It's serious fun, but it's still fun.
Back home in Visalia, California, Missy is an agricultural scientist. She makes sure tomatoes and broccoli are growing right for the University of California. Missy discovered the Ironman back in 1983 when she was 31 and finished second in her age group. She has raced 12 times and has had 9 first-place finishes. That is good stuff.
This race obviously means a lot to me. This is my 13th time here. But I don't know if I can really capture in concise words the total significance of this race. It pervades through my whole life.
For the 10th time in 13 tries, Missy finishes first again this year.
51, Missy Lestrange!
I crossed that finish line and I'm already thinking about the next year's race. I still revel in the moment, but I'm already thinking about next year.
Standing at the finish line of the Ironman at this time of day is a magical experience. One after another, a dream is realized. Some walk away, others collapse and say they've never felt better. They are achieving what they set out to do, and that is never easy. Then you'll see a Hall of Famer like Scott Tinley get through a race he was able to win long ago. Other former greats are there to greet him, and everyone immediately understands. There is sportsmanship and caring. There are limits, and yet there is commitment.
My mom turned the corner down to the hotel on the bike just as I came up. So, looks like we're all gonna make it.
That's Michael Collins, who's running with Mom and Dad, the one who founded the race. Judy Collins is off the bike and onto the run, and it doesn't look like it's going to be easy at all. Husband John may not be covering ground like he did in 1978, but who is? He has said the Ironman shows you what you are made of. And this is true. Paula Newby-Fraser is out there amongst them too. Now it appears her winning days are over. The learning about yourself never ceases, she says, and so too do we learn more about her. Blessed again by a glorious day, the Ironman moves on to the challenge of the night, when the disk of the sun is replaced by the light of the moon, and the bodies of the dreamers turn to little light sticks in the dark. In 1978, when the first Ironman was held, Gordon Haller won it. Now at the age of 48, Gordon Haller has come from home to see if he can be an Ironman again. Race founder John Collins gets some news about his wife.
You guys know where Judy is?
She got pulled out.
Oh no.
We've heard.
Oh no. Mike's up ahead of me.
Yes, we saw him.
Okay.
Judy's fate was to leave the course with medical aid, but she's at peace Worrying about John and Michael, no doubt. Michael's marathon has slowed, but spirits are good. The Collins family name is still trying to get to the line and feel that feeling.
Right. Home stretch.
Reality being what it is, Carlos Moleda probably hears more about what he can't do. He takes those thoughts and turns them beautifully into this. Not all the endings are happy. Cliff Rigsby, good enough to win his age group on a different day, has nothing left to give. Behind that door is a man who can't wait to come back. Lynn Brooks, 19th Ironman. It's looking good.
There must be a reason I've done this 19 times.
Is going to do it. 20 years later, he is going to be an Ironman once again. The Ironman makes him and others feel young and alive. And lucky to have what they have. Judy Molnar never finished the bike ride, but she watches with envy, knows the healthy life she's chosen is right. And if this were easy, it wouldn't be so good. We think we'll see her again.
This is all about keeping on, keeping on. Winning would be nice. Finishing is good. Gonna walk.
Collins, fine one moment, and then you wonder, does it all end right here, like this? Lynn Brooks has done it, again more than anyone else. She said, one more and I'll rest. We won't hold her to it. Michael Collins must have had this in his genes, a finish in the race created by his dad. And he's thinking perhaps about him, where he is, and what he's doing.
provided by BMW Motorcycles.